Okay, we're going to make a bit of an LED chaser here. So I've got 3 LEDs hooked up. There's their resistors, current limiting, and the inputs to the LEDs are actually on pins 2, 3 and 4. So from the output from the Arduino they're going to be an output. Testing. So pin mode 2 is an output, pin mode 3 is an output, pin mode. Okay, so I want these to blink. So I'm going to digital write the first one, which will be on pin 2. Going to make it high, and then I want to delay it for half a second, so I'll put in 500 milliseconds. Then I'll do a digital write again on pin 2 and make that a low so it actually switches off, and then delay 500 milliseconds. Now if I run that, that should make my LED blink, so you can see it there. Alright, so now I want that one to blink, the red one, then the blue one, then the orange one. Alright, so I'm going to modify my code here. So digital write on pin 3, I want that to be off, so I'll put a low there, and also the LED on pin 4 is also a low, and let that go for half a second, and then copy all of that because I'm a bit lazy with typing. I'll switch off LED 2 and actually have that as a low, and then I'll switch on the next one, which will be high, and then I'll also put in a delay of 500 milliseconds and do it all over again. Alright, so if we actually look at this and we run it now, you can see you have an LED chasing there. Now the problem with this is this takes up a lot of program memory. So what we want to do is simplify, and that's the whole point of digital technology, is to actually simplify things and automate them. So what I'm going to do here, so this is a little bit less cluttered, is I'm actually going to create my own function. So I'm going to do void, and I'm going to call this function Blinky. Now Blinky is going to be made up of integers, so I want an integer, which is just a whole number. For the pin, I'm going to call this something LED pin. Going to have another integer which is going to have the state of the LED, so 1s and 0s for on and off. So I'll call this function on off, and then I want to put in a delay, so again another integer which is the delay. Can't use that function. I'm going to call this my delay. Alright, so what is this function going to do? Alright, so what I wanted to do is all of this for me automatically. So I'm going to copy, paste that there. Now, instead of the number 2, I'm going to write LED underscore pin, because I've actually defined the function there. And then I'm going to have the on-off variable. So on, off. So that's going to write the pin and the state. Then I want it to delay my delay. Alright, so now we can get rid of all of this. So I'm going to use my own function called Blinky, and Blinky is going to be on pin 2, and I want it on, and I want a 500 millisecond break. Then I can do, I'm just going to demonstrate it here. So Blinky on pin 2, I want it to go off, and then for another 500 milliseconds. Don't forget the semicolon on the end. So if I run that, it's blinking. Alright. So now let's expand this out a bit. So now I can do Blinky on pin 3. I want that to be off. Actually I want it to be on for 500 milliseconds. And then I want LED on pin 3 to switch off for 500 milliseconds. And then I want to switch on the last LED 4, turn that on, let it stay on for 500 milliseconds, and then I want to switch Blinky off, hence the 0, for 500 milliseconds. Now I'll just do an Alt-Shift-F to actually clean up the code. Now that has reduced the amount of code lines, etc. So I'm just going to run this now. So this is how we can make our own functions. Just to recap, we need to put in some variables, define what the variable types are, and then we can actually do our functions, and instead of actually typing numbers we actually put in our variables, and that will also make it easier to read. Normally you would actually put in a comment here, so if someone else is looking at your code, so you do Blinky, what does it actually mean, output pin, comma, state, and then you might go 1/0 so they know what to put in there, and also the delay time. So that's part of the documentation process you need to follow. Okay, and that is it.